Nazria Greyhill grew up in a small dwarven village in the eastern wilds. When she was just 30 years old, her village was ransacked by a band of human slavers, and she was taken captive. Though they initially intended to sell her as a slave, when they saw how ferociously she struggled and fought against her captors, they ended up selling her to a band of orcs to fight in their fighting pits in the northern wastes. The orcs tried to brand Nazria with a hot iron on her forehead, but she struggled and ended up with a scar shaped like the number 3, stretching from her left cheek down to her jaw. To this day, she is sensitive about her brand and is quick to anger whenever it is pointed out. During her years in the fighting pits, Nazria received training in axes and hand-to-hand combat, and quickly earned glory for her brutality and her fearlessness. Although she was a skilled and ferocious fighter, Nazria's lust for blood quickly cooled as her captors forced her to fight against innocents, animals, and even fellow slaves in the pits. After 27 years of fighting in the pits, Nazria won her freedom by challenging and defeating the boss orc in hand-to-hand combat. She escaped on horseback in the ensuing chaos, taking only her great axe and the boss orc's amulet with her. Now 60, Nazria lives her life as a vagrant, wandering from town to town, often using her skills as a deadly fighter to pay for food and lodging. She is still haunted by her memories of the fighting pits, and is quick to anger when reminded of her captors and her days as a slave. The day she escaped, she swore she would track down the slavers responsible for her misfortune and coat her great axe in their blood.
No beast short of 2 grown men? That's absurd.
Aye, he doesn't take local bounties for small fries. Leave that to the local hunters.
How does such a man live off a statement?
Some will pay a pretty penny, or that of a small fortune, when the price is out of their reach.
You're speaking gibberish, old man, but I'll indulge you for 1 minute longer. Humor me. How does this man even begin to hunt such a beast?
Ha! How does he hunt great beasts? He's a crafty one, you see, a tinker of sorts. And of course, to hunt beasts of that size you need a weapon of size. He carries a bow, a great bow he calls it, taller than you or I. He claimed that he crafted all the strange gear for it himself as well. He's the kind you really can't miss or mistake, playing around with all those tools, armor, and weapons. But his methods are still mysterious, and he refuses to let any of our local hunters go with him on his tours and hunts.
Well, what kind of man is he? Surely someone so monstrous must have a matching personality.
On the contrary, he's a very warm and kind-hearted man, although he doesn't speak much of himself and keeps conversations fairly brief.
Where's he from? Are there more like him?
There are only rumors. Like I said, he keeps himself very private. Some say he was not from this land at all, and it's customary to specialize in such exotic weaponry. Others say he was cast out and exiled, forced to find work as a freelancer. Even though we would like to know, he's never given a straight answer.
So tell me, where can I find him? If not these small bounties, I may know of some larger trophies that could attract his attention.
You know, we'd like to know the same thing. He's been sort of a regular, well, at least once or twice a month to visit and restock, as well as check for any new opportunities. But for the first time he hasn't shown. Who knows, maybe some beast got the better of him at last.
Surely such a man wouldn't fall to mere beasts. Perhaps there is something more.
The name's Tal. If anyone ever wants something hard to get or needs dirt on somebody, then they can come to me. I might be young, but I take care of my own. I grew up an orphan in Ravenmoor. The orphans here are a little special, but even then I was always singled out. Once a month or so, I'd black out and wake up the next day, sometimes naked in the forest outside the city. And one time, I even woke up in my cot hugging a dead horse. The blood took forever to get out. Mandus, that's the guy that takes care of us orphans, taught us how to survive, and always made sure we had a hot meal. No thanks to the local lord and lady, the Cranstons. The Cranstons and their lackeys have always had it out for the poor in Ravenmoor. Now I've decided to get back at those nobles and fight to make Ravenmoor and any other city I come across a decent place, no matter where you come from, even if it means getting my hands a little dirty.
There is a story passed down in my tribe that tells of the exodus of the Tieflings. 3 generations ago, Asmodeus, overlord of the 9 hells, drove the Tieflings from their home in Nessus. As they fled, my great-grandmother, Shatari Frilia Kuloth, who was blessed with the gift of powerful raw magic, managed to open a door to another plane, allowing a handful of them to escape the 9 hells. Chased out of the only home they ever knew, and transported to a strange new world, the material plane, the tieflings took up a nomadic lifestyle as they searched for a new place to call home. My great-grandmother became known as Mother Aegis, the legendary tiefling sorcerer who saved our kind from extinction. 80 years passed, and the raw magic that my great-grandmother possessed was passed down through her bloodline. Her daughter and her daughter's daughter went on to become the next leaders of our tribe, but their at times chaotic magic became a source of fear rather than comfort. Even now, whispers of dissent echo from the shadows. When I overheard whispers concerning my own raw magic, I knew I had to prove myself. So I gathered a handful of my peers, and I set out to show them I was in control. Unfortunately, all I managed to prove was that my magic was in control of me. During an intense struggle against a giant lizard-like creature, my raw magic swept me away from the field of battle. I awoke sometime later in an unfamiliar meadow. There was no sign of my peers, nor of the great lizard. I was alone. Days of wandering brought me to the outskirts of Ravenmoor, where a young man named Tal helped me get back on my feet. I realize now that until I learn to control my magic, I'm not but a danger to those around me. I can't return to my tribe until my magic and I are in harmony.